Hello, my name is Corey, welcome back to the Plain and Simple channel, and today in Satisfactory, everything has changed. You notice in the top left, we now have the experimental build logo up there, so now there is so much new stuff that we can build with, do, play with, and a couple of tools have changed. We're going to touch on those momentarily. However, other changes that have happened. Last episode, we finished up our first coal power build over there on the waterfalls in the distance. That has solved our power problem for the time being and hopefully for a little while, and made our batteries pretty much obsolete. Secondly, we're missing something here. Our little buddy is now gone, and he has eaten a lot over time, so he's actually, he's grown up a bit. But as far as what we're doing today, we have, between episodes, built up a couple more floors, and we're going to start actually moving in. Outside of that, we did a lot of research last time, and I got a little bit of feedback on, if you haven't played this game before, everything I've been doing has been very fast and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Needs a little bit more explanation. So, first things first, we'll cut to the intro, and then we're going to do a basic crash course on Satisfactory. So here in Satisfactory, the main goal is to be able to create the right materials to fill into the space elevator to eventually get to the final steps of the game. But to be able to do such a thing, you need to first build out materials and collecting items such as these buildings here. Miner Mark 1 can be placed onto nodes for different types of ores. These will, depending on the type and the power, give you a certain amount of ore per minute. These can then automatically gather those, feed into belts, which you can then send off to other buildings. Those other buildings being smelters, for one. Smelters will allow you to take ore and make it into ingots, which you can choose depending on which one you need. You then feed in the proper material and out pops the ingots. From there, a certain amount made per minute into other items to actually craft. So those would be your constructors. Assemblers are a little bit more complicated, but those allow you to make things such as iron rods, iron plates. I believe you can also do screws through here. Anything that basically takes one material can be made in here, constructors. Now, depending on how many feed through and the item you choose, different amounts will come out. So with iron rods, 15 to make 15. If we switch over to plates, we can do 30 ingots for 20 iron plates per minute. That's where all of the math comes in. So, getting things nice and evened out for all your materials is key. When you start creating more and more complicated items, you can then make things in your assemblers. Assemblers will then take two items of different kinds and combine them into a new one. The reinforced iron plates. If we select it, we need 30 iron plates per minute, 60 screws per minute to make 5 reinforced iron plates. Now you might be asking, what's the point? What's the point of making all this new stuff? Well, you actually build other items to make bases, such as lookout towers, all your containers, all of your foundations, walls, and all of that. You need materials. Now, moving on from those, you can get even more complicated as you move forward. Be able to calculate all of this stuff into the materials you need to then get new upgrades and stuff to make along the way. Nighttime came in pretty quickly, but to be able to focus on actual building production, you first need power. When you first start out the game, one of the items that you will get is the biomass burner that we've talked about a lot in the past episodes. These will take the biofuel that you've created by collecting a bunch of leaves or wood, crafting it into the fuel that you need, and letting it burn to create the power, but it runs out over time, it runs through those resources. So the focus on the coal power that we did in the last episode is to help alleviate that issue. It still burns through coal, but that is auto-generated by a miner, taken by the truck, and delivered to be able to automatically refuel itself, which is fan-frickin-tastic. Moving on, we have two different areas to upgrade as we move through the game. One would be in your hub here. This is what we've been touching on off and on throughout the episodes, trying to upgrade as quickly as possible to get to good building standards. Now this is what we've been doing for the biomass burners, all in tier 0 to get us started for our basic items with miners, equipment workshop to create things like the chainsaw, portable miners, beacons, and much more. Moving on to the upgrades for new items, power lines, and smelters, and then on to the more complicated items for power poles, constructors, and more. Now, as we move up through the tiers, these items get more complicated with base building, logistics to split your lines into different areas, move them vertically, more productivity displays, inventory slots, and more. Again, just more stuff. Now, to be able to unlock the new tiers, you then have to feed the more complicated items into our space elevator, send it off into space back to the home base for the Fixit Corporation to unlock new blueprints as you move through the game to get to the final phase. Outside of that, we then unlocked our MAM. This allows you to then take items that you actually find in the world throughout exploration, killing some of the monsters in the area, and collecting basic materials to craft new items for you, your character, and make things even cooler. And eventually we'll get things like explosives and things that help us to further expand and progress through the game. Now we're under the chicken here. Let's jump into kind of what's new with the shop. Oh, I love this thing. I am so excited to show you guys this. Now, with building this out, we have some lungs, as, you know, our chicken needs to process some air while he's eating all this stuff. We have our giant stomach in the background, two-sided, with our awesome sinks to be able to collect and kill those materials for tickets. A couple little areas for kidneys, liver, whatever you want to think of those as. And on the very back wall, our intestine network. Now, none of this is actually functional. It doesn't do anything. I just thought it looked awesome. I had a lot of fun just trying to decorate and see what I could do with some of the materials. But the last main thing that we want to check out here today is the heart of our chicken, which is going to be the awesome shop. Now, this is amazing, and with the new experimental build upgrade, we have a lot of new stuff like signs. Different items for walls. We now have gates, tilted walls, a whole bunch of new options, new attachments for lift floor holes and pipeline floor holes. Oh, that's going to be fantastic. Architecture, a lot of new build items for frame pillars, road barriers, structural beams, and then customizer. This is another huge change in the experimental update 5. We now have different materials for walls and floors. Concrete, steel. We also have foundational patterns that we can paint onto the floors themselves to get a better idea on what flows where and what's going on. Also, we could probably make some art. This is now just in the builder, instead of having a paint gun, which I used for the entire chicken, by the way, and went through like 500, 600 different paint tubes. We can just choose something new. Choose a swatch. Throw it down. Also, new thing you can do. When you choose to build something, you now have the build mode, and normally it's default. Now we have Zoop. Default means click, 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 click. Zoop. I select and move. Boom. 10 done. Boom. 10 done. Oh, this is going to completely change the game. This is my favorite change. Bye. Well, actually, I don't know. Those signs are going to be pretty awesome. So we are going to jump into the building and starting production in the base, but the one thing I want to do first is grab our 21 coupons now and see what we can unlock, make things a bit easier. Let's get our wall holes. And you know what? The pipeline holes are just 1, 2, so we'll get that. Our walkways. Sign. So let's just get all of these. And then we'll throw our tickets in one of the chests and move on. So here's what I'm thinking for the first floor area, is we need a place that our power comes in, and just in case we start running out of power eventually, I want to be able to shut down power to certain sections of the base to stop production if I already have plenty of the material I need. For that, I think this level, instead of being storage, is actually going to be for power underneath. We're going to have a glass ceiling and a glass floor above that. Layer above is our transport layer, so that's going to have all of our belts and everything running around. And then the layer there is actually going to be the storage layer. So that is going to have all of our containers, which I need to get the double tall ones. And all of our materials can just come up through the floor now that we have our lift holes. Oh, that's going to be awesome. Okay, so that is the plan for this section. We're going to get power into the base, and then the next thing I need to do is to be able to build out our actual production area for the first level. So we have all of our smelters down there, and then up here is going to be all of our rods, screws, plates of normal variety, hopefully. We'll see how many we can produce. So with that plan in mind, the one thing that we are going to need to start with the storage system is Logistics Mark III, which is going to give us the industrial storage containers, as well as some much better stuff as well. So let's go ahead and knock that out and send it off. And checking in on Doggo, looks like he's doing alright. Glad to see you haven't disappeared, buddy. Putting in some storage containers. And we're gonna need a lot more, not iron, steel. So we are gonna have to get on steel production sometime soon, but first and foremost, we need to get the basics out of the way to be able to get there. Right, so here's an idea. Constructors are about the same, well, they're a little bit larger than the smelters, so I can still fit about the same amount. This is 10, or I think 11? No, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can fit 10 plus additionals in each line. But the problem is if I want to fit the basics of rods, plates, and screws down here with a new alternate recipe, it's going to produce a lot. And I don't have, well, belts I can figure out. But if I want to have 16 constructors total for the rods, that's 120 output per 8. If I want to get a nice even number with plates, I could do 8 constructors, which would give me 80 per line, 160 in total. And then the screws are just extremely efficient with this new recipe. It's going to be... I can fit 24 constructors, because they only take 5 ingots each per minute to make 50. You know what? You know what? Let me double check that. 12.5 for... Oh no, I gotta redo all my math. Okay, so here is the concept. We have 8 120 lines that are going to be coming through automatically. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now with that, I can divide it evenly amongst different things. So the rods, I can make 16 constructors out of 2 lines, and that will give me 240 rods per minute, which works with my Mark II lines at 120 per minute, split it into 2 lines going out. My screws are going to be a lot. They take about 9.6 constructors with the new way to make them, which is much more efficient, but it's due to this 12.5 item here. And to be able to get it on a nice line that goes into 120s pretty easily, I would need to have 9.6 in total for each 120 line. So if I do 2 for the rods, 2 for the screws, screws are going to be producing 960 per minute, which is a crap load, but those are going to be filtered mostly up to our reinforced iron plates and other things. Lastly, the plates will be 4 lines of 120. 3 of those will go into 240, which is 2 120 lines. Last one will be an 80 line that I can just feed directly into storage. So I can use the plates for everything else, and then still take plates since now everything requires it, as far as the floors and walls are concerned. But that means I gotta try to fit in 52 constructors in here? Constructors galore. Ha ha ha! They have updated something as well for some soft clipping clearances. If you see, these two are technically inside of each other, but the way they match up, I actually really like it. It's not going to bother me at all. So for certain things like, excuse me, the mergers, the conveyor belts, and things like that, you can actually soft clip through machines. I am not going to be doing a lot of that. This is just for kind of saving space's sake and being able to fit everything on this floor. So these between the machines can be a little bit closer to be able to make things easier. General structure is completed. As far as getting things out of here though, it's gonna be a little difficult, and I realized I have not actually set any of these machines or the smelters down below. This is a very tedious process, yes, oh yes it is. You know, the other problem we need to figure out for this place is actually hooking up power to all these. And apparently you can run power along the ceilings. That's fantastic to know. And with that, we should now have power hooked up to both floors. Should be seeing a bunch of yellow, because there's nothing in them. Right, next steps is to actually get some ore in here and make sure that everything runs okay. I'm running around checking which nodes are which, and I just found this right next to the base. I've never seen this kind of plant before. And apparently this is a tunnel. The wilderness must be explored. Whoa, that's beautiful. Another 90s. Oh, evil little dudes.
Your contract legally compels you to harvest this artifact.
Oh my god, that is so creepy. Whew. Those little guys scare the crap out of me.
Harvest it.
I wonder if she says anything creepier if we just let it go.
Relaying message. Hello, this is Paternal Figure. I have taken ill and need your help to find a cure. Doctors say that the only remedy is alien artifacts.
Oh my god. What? This is messing with her programming.
Comply. Breaking news from Earth. Widespread chaos and mayhem. World President urges all citizens to do their part and harvest alien artifacts. Comply.
Alright, she's starting to repeat herself. And another way out. Oh my god! What the heck? So to make this work, we need a bit more coal so we can make more industrial beams. Not the encased kind you see on the right, so that we can make those encased kind. And then make 2 more of the portable miners. We actually have 3, not portable. Jesus, everything is messed up in my head right now. So that we can make 2 miner Mark IIs. The portable miners are used to make them, but we have 3 Mark IIs already down on 3 normal iron nodes. That's going to give us 120 each, so that's 3 out of the 4 lines that we need to feed into this thing. And while we're waiting on those to be produced, we can actually tear this whole thing out. Goodbye, biomass production. I will not miss you. Ah, nice clean hillside. Coming up on the area, we can also get rid of all of this. Right, with that cleaned up, we now have 1, 2, 3 120 lines we can feed in, and then my plan is there's 2 more iron nodes up there, which I actually might leave alone. I don't know. Do I want to feed them directly in, or do I want to make some kind of a trucking route? That is the question. The question for now is, does it work? And that is my main concern. So I'm just going to hook up these 2. Going to get rid of that. Put down 2 Mark IIs. And these can only do 60 per minute because this is impure. The rest are normal nodes over there, so they are 120 each. So we are then going to need to combine them as well here. And send them out that way. Mark 1s can handle the initial load. And then the Mark IIs will need to bring us around that side of the base. And down to you. Awesome. So that should be all 4 hooked up. And you're already feeding stuff through. Oh no, I need to hook up the other power, and then we gotta run inside to see if everything is actually running. Why am I lagging? Lagging hard. Do I hear smelting? Yes, I do. Oh, I need another 4 hooked up. This is only one side. Oh my god, you can zoop ramps as well. That saves so much time. So here's the thought. To be able to get all of the iron we need over there to be able to be crafting stuff, we got to take all this out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different spots that we can pull from, and that's going to give us 4 lines of 120. The next steps here, yeah, we're finally going to be cleaning this up. And there it is. Much nicer than before. All Mark II miners are in. Now time to hook them up to the base, get things over there, and I forgot to mention the best part about the chicken. He's got little legs! All the way in the back, hidden underneath. He's got little chicken legs. Nighttime once again, and this is going to be the final line. Oh, a little bit of clipping, gotta clean this place up still a little bit more, but we have 2 for a 120 line going in. 2 up top for a 120 line going in. 2 over here, and 2 more down on the side there, all leaning in this, once we get back over here, this line that goes all the way over to the second inputs. So a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. Just enough, oh god, I hope that's enough room for the truck to go back and forth. And zoom, right on past, good. Yes, look at all of that iron flowing right in. Oh, there's that beautiful iron. Yes. And there they are. Okay. We have screws galore. Then we should have a bunch of rods as well. Yes, yes we do. Awesome. Moving on to the next section. So our next section is going to be reinforced iron plates and rotors, because those just take rods and screws and normal plates and screws. I think the best bet here is to have 6 constructors for each, reinforced plates and rotors. That's going to need 180 plates per minute, 360 screws for that side. Rotors will be 120 iron rods, leaves us a whole line free, and 600 screws per minute. Yes, which leaves us at about 40 extra screws per minute, and a good amount of the other materials. Okay, now let's get to the layout. I've got to run off to grab some more resources, but the concept is a lot more roomy than the last couple of these here. So I'm gonna run off, grab the stuff for the belts, get power in here, and then we'll at least have all of our basic production up and running. Reinforced plate production fully hooked up. And with the final power line, we should now... Oh, let me just throw an extra one of these in just in case. We should now be producing on all of these if I actually set them to what they should be. Might want to actually hook this thing up to power. That'd be good. Yes, things are loading on both sides. We should have 30 reinforced plates being made per minute, along with 24 rotors per minute. This seems to be not moving as fast as I had hoped. Oh, I fucked up. 270, not 300 per minute. I don't know why I was thinking 300 this entire time. Oh, that means I gotta change everything. Crisis partially averted. Okay. So now we have 4 250 lines. We have one going here, one going right above me, one going here, and then one leading into the back section that I've already built. And there's an idea for that. Alright, I think I have it figured out. What I did was down below, I squashed everything together and made 4 lines of 250 that we just covered. That leads up here for 1, 2, 3 lines up in front. 250 to each, 3 stack over here for 6. And then this is the last 250 line that comes up, and I'm only using the Mark II belts. They can do 120 max. So hopefully this, as it produces, is going to give me just enough to push 120, 120, And then I split this one so it is 60 and 60. Split again, 30 and 30 to get to the 300 I need for each of these stacks. And a little bit extra on this side, I just added 120 coming down this way, which will just feed out to the back, giving us the rest of the items that we don't really need. And I'm actually going to slow this belt down that it doesn't pull when it doesn't need to. So we're about wrapping up for the day, but before we do, I want to put in some temporary storage so we can build up a stock of these items up here. As I start using the old ones down at the old base area, I can then get rid of those storage containers and start moving things around. I don't want to put things in our main storage area here yet until we get a design done. Honestly, I want something that looks neat and decent, you know? But all of that's going to have to wait until next time. Final thing we're going to do today, dismantling the hub and our workshop and moving them into the main area. We have all of our normal production over there now. Oh, let's also grab the MAM. Can't forget that bad boy. But I am way over time for today's episode, so I'm going to have to start calling it there. After we get these final pieces in, we completed a lot today. We got all of our lines hooked up for iron. That's going to be 8 in total, making a whole bunch of stuff. Rod, screws, plates, the reinforced plates, rotors, smelting all of it down as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. Here's our temporary replacement for the hub. Throw in the other 2 here while we're here as well. Grab our MAM. Which we're just going to put there, and where is it? Equipment workshop, which we'll go ahead and throw against this wall for the time being. With that, we are officially moved in for the most part. We just need to start hooking up the rest of our creation items. So next time, we're going to focus a little bit on getting the copper items, concrete items, and a few other creation stuff into the main base. We're also probably going to do a little bit of exploration because we need quartz for silica to make more glass windows and a few things like that. Maybe a little bit of decoration around the inside here because I'm realizing I need a better walkway than this. This looks horrible. But that's going to do it for today. I'm Corey. Welcome back to the Plain and Simple channel. If you've been watching for a while, welcome to anybody new. And I'll catch you all in the next episode.